Hi everybody, I'm Jason, and today we're going to talk about Palia and some cooking. So, Palia is an online MMO. It's what they call a cozy MMO, where you don't do like dungeons and kill tons of monsters and all that kind of stuff. Instead, you learn trades and you gather materials and you craft and you explore the world and you make more stuff. Eventually, you learn all these cool furniture recipes to build and improve your house and your plot and everything, and just make the coolest, most decorated the way you want house kind of thing. And that's what it's really all about. And then just getting to explore the world comfortably. There's like no dying or anything. But this video in particular, I really want to talk about cooking. There's a lot of videos and information out there about the different recipes, how to get them and everything, but there's not a lot that I could find for somebody who's new to the game and might just want to know what they're doing with actual cooking. So, in the beginning of the game, as you progress through some of the early quests, you're going to learn a recipe for a campfire, and that's really where the cooking starts. You'll be able to build just one, and I'll show you at the crafting station here. So you go to your crafting station, you go to your crafters, and there is a campfire recipe. You'll be able to build that one, and then you will eventually learn how to make a standard stove, a prep station, a mixing station, and a standard oven. Those are all the different cooking tools. There's also this preserves jar. That's a little more complicated. We're not going to talk about that today. That's for turning fruits into jams, which you do after you farm and everything. But yeah, the basics are, so you're going to have a recipe for this campfire, right? And as you're going around, you're going to start picking up things like mushroom, catching fish, catching oysters, and you learn this recipe for a fisherman's brew. After a little while when you're fishing, you pick up some flowers and you put them together, and that's how you make that recipe. Campfires are great to start leveling your cooking early because there are tons of oysters over in the bay, which you'll eventually get to and learn about, and there's tons and tons of mushrooms all around the open world. And then also as you're hunting the surnuks and the chappas, you're going to get different meats which you can cook as well. So first place you're going to start cooking is this campfire. So you build a campfire, you go out, you shoot a couple chappas or a couple surnuks. If you get some star qualities and that's all you have to check this button. See how it selects my two that are star quality? If you don't check that, you won't use star quality ingredients. That's something I just learned. And same thing with fish. You see how that's now available, but if I don't use star, then I don't use any, I don't have a recipe available for my fish. So you just get your ingredients, you go to the campfire, you click on it, and you click make. This is the most basic kind of cooking in the game. So when you're first like level 1, level 2, this is how you're going to be doing a lot of your skill ups and everything. You go in here, you make the recipe, and you learn these recipes from a guy named Brett in town, and some recipes you find throughout the ground. But eventually you're going to level up your cooking, you're going to buy recipes, and you're going to learn how to make different things. Eventually you'll be able to make all those different stations I showed you. So there's mixing stations, there's standard stoves, there is prep stations, and there is the bake oven. Each one of these things can be used by itself and or in combination with the other stations to make different things. And I think that's where it kind of gets confusing for some people as well. Like, there's a mixing recipe I have, which I highly recommend this recipe. It gives you the most focus, by the way, and it is very, very easy to make. Unfortunately, I didn't have any sweet leaf ready for this video, but I'll still show you how to stir stuff, which you do at the mixing station. The prep station, there's different recipes for like celebration cake, and you can fish up this recipe for sushi. But each one of these have their own different little mechanics, and that's really what's the important part to grasp. And when it comes to the stove, like you might start cooking something, you'll have all these different recipes, and they're either all listed at once, but if you start getting your basic and you don't have ingredients for these other ones, you can just click basic or common, uncommon, rare, and epic. So what I want to do is I want to just show you how to make like a basic thing, which is just a stove and the prep station, and then we can go ahead and we can make a uncommon, which is oven also, prep and stove, And then we have a recipe here that's even more rare, which uses prep station, oven, and stove again, but it's more combined. And there's two what they call flips involved, so it tells you all the steps here. And then there's epic complexity as well. So there's stove, there's prep station, all these different things to prep, all these different things to mix. And then again, if you want to use star ingredients, like that's all you have, or your only option, you can select that and use that, and that just gives you a little more focus points when you're done making it. So, all of that said, if you need more information too, it tells you what you need. But let's go ahead and make just a hearty vegetable soup. So again, you just go to the stove and you hit F or whatever your keybind is, and then you go to your common complexity, and then you just hit make. So what that's going to do, that's going to start cooking it. While that's cooking, eventually the timer is going to start ticking down. Eventually, once you add ingredients that you prep, you're going to have to stir it, but you can't do that yet because that's where the prep station comes in. So you go over here and you hit F on the prep station, hit make, and we're going to chop some mushrooms. So you can see it's like a timing rhythm game, kind of like Guitar Hero, Rock Band kind of thing. Just when the blue's in the line, you click it, and then it automatically collects it. You left click to add. You see it pops up stir, and then goes right to stir, and all you do is hold left click. And then it just finishes cooking, and voila. There you go. That's a basic meal right there. So it was just cooking, stirring, cooking, prepping, adding, and stirring. Okay? Now you might be asking, why do I have two of each? Well, some recipes require multiple stations, and it will tell you that. Like if you're unable to make it, it'll tell you what you're missing in the recipe. So like you might be like, I have all the ingredients, I have a prep station, I have a mix station, I have a stove, what's going on? And then if you look on the different sections, like for the more complex things, like this epic one, like you might see this is good and this is good, but this might be red. It'll tell you you're missing a prep station, for example. So let's go ahead and make a more uncommon thing so you can kind of just start to get a feel for what the heck the differences are. So I'm going to go ahead and make this. That's always what you're going to do first. Find the recipe you want. You have all the ingredients, and you can cook. Also, very important, you can cook with party members. Eventually you're going to get to this thing that's called a cake party, where everybody puts in different ingredients and has different responsibilities, and you all make a bunch of cakes, and everybody gets a bunch of cakes, and it's all one big party. But in the beginning, you're going to be doing a lot of this by yourself, and or with like one, maybe two other people. And each person can do their own thing at the different station, or you can do it by yourself. It's just a little more challenging because you have to pay more attention. So what we do is we just hit make. Alright, now you can see it says there's two flips, those are mechanics, and then there's a bunch of stuff to prep, and there's also a bake. So the first thing we gotta do is we gotta, you can do it in any order, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to chop up these tomatoes. So we are going to chop, 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 and that's just left clicking. And then you can add the ingredient. You see how it says flip? So you hit F to interact, and then what you want to do is you want this to go around once and then stop it on the thing right there. Boom. So that's a successful flip. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit F to prep. I'm going to chop up some meat. It's going to be the same idea as the mushrooms and stuff. You just time the bar and you chop, chop, chop. And if you fail, I'm failed on purpose. It's no big deal. You start it where you left off. The only thing you're up against is that timer up there to my top left. So now I have that ready. So now I can cook it because it's, you've got to bake the bacon. You hit F on the oven and then you hit make. And while that's cooking, if you want, you can come over here and you can prep your next thing. So I can chop this while that's cooking. So I can just go chop, 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 bam. So this is done now. It's actually burning, so that's why you don't generally want to do that. I just want to show you that you could. So you can left click to add the ingredient, and left click to add the ingredient, and then it'll bring you to the flip. Just click and hold, let go, flip, and bam, there's a bacon stuffed mushroom meal. So you can see as the recipes get more and more involved, there's more to pay attention to, more to do, and it's really just a matter of getting the feel and the timing. I have not attempted to make this yet, but I wanted to for the first time. So I can show you exactly how kind of complex these things get and how you kind of have to do stuff on the fly. So I'm going to go ahead and click make, and we're going to attempt to make some chapa masala. Again, I have not tried to make this, but we're going to give it a whirl and see how it goes. So let's go ahead and make this. Wow, look at everything you got to do. So let's go over here and let's start prepping, okay? So we're going to make, and you got 4 minutes to do this, so you have plenty of time. So we're going to just chop it up. I am being quiet because I'm actually paying attention. Add the ingredients. Okay, so we don't need to do that. So we're going to come over here. We're going to mix. We have the dairy cloves ready, so we hit make. And then it brings you up to stir, so you just stir. And then you go over here. Do you add that ingredient? No. Do we cook that? We're not ready for that, so we must be over here to prep stuff. There we go. And that's just kind of how it goes. You see how that came up with stir? So we gotta make this, right? Oh, I failed, so we gotta keep going. I actually missed that live. I'm normally better at that. So I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna hit F because I need to get that stir in. If you go too long, this stuff will burn. So you can see it gets a little hectic. I'm gonna left click to add that ingredient, and then I'm gonna come over here and prep. I want to get this meat cooking, so we're gonna start chopping it up. We go chop, 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 chop. So you can see I'm gonna have to go ahead and not bake it. I'm sorry. What am I doing now? I am not ready to cook yet. I am not ready to mix. I already did the cloves, so we need to. What do we need to do? We need to prep more. I'm sorry. So we prep. See, I've never made this recipe, so I don't know the exact steps. We'll figure it out. Oh, and I failed already. I gotta get over there and stir before it burns. I might not complete this, but this just shows you why it's a good idea to have help, because different people can do different things in the meal. So now I'm gonna stir this. Okay. And then we have to prep. Let's chop this up. You can kind of see how it kind of guides you along the way of what you need to do. Good, I'm glad it's fast, because we're gonna start running out of time here. I'm gonna prep some more stuff. Just make the heat roots. So we're just chop. Oh, I can't keep failing. That's gonna be bad, right? So chop, chop, chop. Oh, failed. Run out of time. Just let me know. Uh-oh. Are we gonna make it? Suspense is killing me. Okay. We are not ready to bake yet, so let's add the ingredients. Nope, we must have to mix something. Look at that. Yep, we chopped it up, so now we're ready to mix. Click, hold, stir. Okay, and then we're gonna mix. We must be ready for more of these. Click, hold, stir. There we go, and then left click, add the ingredients. Nope, we must need to prep. Okay. We're gonna chop up some garlic. We are running out of time here. Are we going to make it, folks? It's going to be close. Alright, and then we need to do 2 more chopped spice sprouts. Let's get those ready. And we got to chop. Oh, no, that's not good. Let's try again. Chop. You can hear the music, too, a little bit. Alright, so now what do we do? Do we got to cook? Yep, now we're ready to cook this other seared choppa. And then we're going to have to flip it. I'm guessing, yep. So then we flip it. Bam. We got success. And then we add the ingredients. And then everything's prepped. We got to mix. What do we got to make? The heavenly spice mix? It's going to be close. There we go. We got that made. Now we're going to add the ingredient, and we are cutting it just down to the wire. But I believe we are good to go. And bam, we made some choppa masala. That was my first time live, so I didn't know the steps, but I wanted to show you it's still doable with 1 player, but you can see why you need more than 1. But yeah, that's how cooking works. So that was a little bit of everything. So had I actually paid more attention, like I went to the oven a couple times, but if I look at this recipe, there's no oven involved. I wouldn't have had to keep going over there. I was confusing it with that other recipe. But you can see, and then the more complex recipe you do, the quicker you gain experience as well. But yeah, that's an overview of cooking in Palia. This game is super fun, super cool, and the only thing I don't like is that you have to use the recipe you just made to get the focus back that you used to make the recipe. So, but yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything else you want to learn, let me know. I'm going to be putting out a series of videos, including how to find ingredients, how to make gold, how to get more inventory space, how to fish, how to get different worms, how to farm, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, I am Jason. If you did come by and check me streaming sometime, I'll be on. Thank you very much, and keep being awesome beings.